Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of The Source. Another great MLB night. Went 5-3 last night. That makes back-to-back good MLB nights. Off to a great start in the NBA too. I had the Knicks. I had the Grizzlies. Grizzlies was the -4 was the biggest bet of the night. Kings and Bucks games are still going on, so I'll let you know how that works out. But we're off to a great start. We got 11 MLB games to go through, so let's dive in.
Welcome to The Source. The Source. Hey, get the Source.
First up, Marlins on the road in Atlanta to play the Braves. We got Braxton Garrett pitching against Kyle Wright. Total opens up at 9. Braves obviously open up as favorites, -205. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, after 5 innings, we're looking at 5-2 in favor of the Braves, 6-3 final score. So Kyle Wright's career numbers against this Marlins lineup are just a complete practical joke. The Marlins' lifetime are 6 of 54 off of Kyle Wright. I know Kyle Wright's off to a real rough start this season. All 3 of his starts this year have been really shaky, but at home against a bad Marlins lineup that he's dominated over the course of his career, he should deal. Another angle I like for Kyle Wright, look at his splits against right-handed bats and left-handed bats here. OPS numbers against Kyle Wright, lefties 1056, righties just 646. So a huge difference there. Why is that key? Because the Marlins' day-to-day starting lineup usually has 7 right-handed bats in it, and one of their lefties is Jazz Chisholm. He's 0 for 9 career off Kyle Wright. Absolute smash spot for Kyle Wright against this Marlins lineup here. Now, Braxton Garrett is pitching for the Marlins, and he's actually off to a solid start this season. That being said, he is yet to pitch against a single lineup that's ranked in the top 14 against lefties. The Braves, one of the best lineups in baseball against lefties. In the last 2 weeks, they're 4th in WOBA. I love the Braves' first 5 angle here, whether you want to go Braves first 5 run line, Braves first 5 team total over. Markets aren't open yet. I'll give out the final bet on the live show at 11 a.m. Next up, Dodgers on the road in Pittsburgh. We got Mitch Keller pitching against Julio Urias. Dodgers open up as heavy favorites here, -175. Total opens up at 8. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet, and the model's leaning Pirates here after 5 innings. 5-3 Pittsburgh, full game 9-4 Pittsburgh. So heavy lean on the Pirates, heavy lean on the over. All right, I do like Mitch Keller, but there are a couple concerns in this spot here. Number one, I just said yesterday, the Dodgers are starting to smash right-handed pitching. 3 starts in a row against righties, 7 runs, 8 runs, and 9 runs. The Dodgers bats have arrived against righties. My second concern about Mitch Keller is I'm worried that his numbers might be a bit inflated. He's got good numbers to start the year, but against who? He's pitched against the Reds twice, Boston, and St. Louis. They're terrible. He pitched against the Astros, but that was right in the middle of the slump where they weren't hitting anybody. Really do not like this spot for Mitch Keller. I mean, add on the fact that Freddie Freeman has faced Mitch Keller 8 times in his career. He's got 4 hits and 2 walks. He's got a .750 on base percentage against Mitch Keller. But here's where this bet gets a little confusing. You got Julio Urias pitching for the Dodgers, right? He pitched against the Pirates twice last year. Both losses, and he allowed a combined 19 hits in those starts. Now, to be fair, the Pirates lineup right now is a lot different than it was in the first half of last season. A lot of turnover there, but still 2 losses, 2 bad starts from Urias against the Pirates last year. Originally, I was going to look Dodgers first 5 team total over here, but then Prop Beaver actually pointed it out to me that the Dodgers have been lighting it up in the second half of games. 3 games in a row, inning 6 through inning 9. They have a combined 16 runs. So I'm switching it up. I'm going Dodgers team total over. Next up, we got Seattle on the road in Philly. We got George Kirby pitching against I always say Max Strum. It's Matt Strum. Total opens up at 8.5. Phillies open up as favorites here, -130. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at 3-0 Philly after 5 innings. Final score 4-1 Philly. So George Kirby's been pitching really well. In his last 3 starts combined, 18 in the 3rd innings pitched, just 14 hits allowed, 0 walks. But just like Mitch Keller, we have to ask, against who? Those 3 starts, Cardinals, Rockies, Guardians. 3 bum-ass lineups. Now he goes on the road in Philadelphia against a Phillies lineup that's been smashing righties. They're 3rd in WOBA against right-handed pitching in the last 2 weeks. I think the Phils get to him here. Matt Strom's got some good numbers himself, but also we got to ask the same question again. Against who? His last 3 starts, Rockies, Reds, Marlins. I mean, he does have a decent start against the Yankees earlier in the season. That was like 3 weeks ago. I think we got 2 starting pitchers with inflated numbers here. I don't think these guys are bad. I just don't think they're as good as their numbers indicate, which is why I'm going sharp. I'm taking the first 5 over in this one. Phillies bullpen has actually shown signs of life, and the Seattle bullpen is pretty solid, so I'm leaving the bullpens out of it. First 5 over next game. Padres at Cubs again. We got Seth Lugo pitching against Hayden Wesneski. Total opens up at 8.5. Padres open up pretty heavy favorites here, -155. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, again, we're looking at a Cubs win after 5 innings, 5-2 Cubs. Full game is 6-3 Cubs. So why are the Padres struggling so far this season? Well, for starters, Juan Soto's batting just 188, and Manny Machado's batting just 213. San Diego's not going to win a ton of baseball games if those guys continue to hit like this. And we got Seth Lugo on the mound. I said it during his last start. Now, I like Seth Lugo. He's a Met. I'm a Mets fan. I'm rooting for him. That being said, I don't believe this guy is a true starting pitcher in the league. He opened up the season with an absolute gem at home against the Rockies. Since then, his last 3 starts have all been pretty shaky. In Lugo's last 3 starts, he's allowing a .302 batting average and a .371 on-base percentage. Those aren't good numbers. If you take away that brilliant start against Colorado to open the season, he really hasn't been that reliable. All that being said, I still like the Padres here because you can't trust this guy Wesneski at all. He's been absolutely hammered in 3 out of his 4 starts this year. His only start this year that you can even call decent was against Oakland, and it was against Oakland when they were kind of slumping offensively. I mean, they're kind of always slumping offensively, but they were particularly cold when Wesneski pitched against them. So I can't believe I'm doing this, but I actually think this is a good spot to back San Diego. I actually may lay the 1.5 here. I'm leaning San Diego -1.5. We'll see if I stick with that on the live show at 11 a.m. next game. Next up, Cardinals on the road in San Francisco to play the Giants. I refuse to bet on either of these lineups right now. They're just way too unpredictable. They're both really struggling. I don't feel comfortable giving out a bet for this game. Let's move on. Next up is Oakland at LA, and I'm skipping this one too. Ohtani's pitching, so obviously the Angels are insanely priced. Everyone bets the Angels when Ohtani pitches, so even though I like the Angels to win comfortably, -305, no thanks. Next. Baltimore on the road in Detroit. We got Kyle Gibson throwing against Joey Wentz. Orioles open up favored, -137. Total opens up at 8. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we're looking at a 4-1 score Orioles after 5 innings and a 4-1 final score. That just shows you how well both of these bullpens have been pitching. Very short description here. Baltimore should absolutely hammer Joey Wentz in this spot. Not only is the Orioles lineup excellent at hitting left-handed pitching, but they literally just saw this kid. Joey Wentz literally just pitched against the Orioles. I think it was on Saturday. 5 earned runs in just 4 innings of work. I mean, we're talking like what, 5-6 days later? I don't see how the exact same thing doesn't happen here. Add on the fact that Kyle Gibson's been pitching really well, and I'm definitely on the O's here. I might take Baltimore run line. I might lay the 1.5, or I might also take the team total over. In fact, I might put a half unit on both. Definitely on the O's next game. Nats on the road in Citi Field to play the Mets. We got Trevor Williams pitching against Joey Lucchesi. Mets open up as -190 favorites. Total opens up 8.5. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, we got a 4-0 score in favor of the Mets after 5. 5-0 final score in favor of the Mets. Trevor Williams returns to Citi Field to pitch against his old team, the Mets. A little bit of a revenge spot here for Trevor Williams. Now, I know he hasn't pitched against anyone recently. His last 3 starts were Twins, Guardians, Rockies. But in those starts, he's got a 2.76 ERA with a .98 whip. Kid's been pitching well. Here's the bad news. He's a right-handed pitcher, and he's thrown against the Mets. Mets have had one of the strongest lineups against right-handed pitching this entire season. I think in the last 2 weeks, they're 3rd, so they have not cooled off. As much as I like Trevor Williams, I think the Mets tag him up. Now, on the other side, you got Joey Lucchesi, or Lucchesi. No, I think it is Lucchesi. He threw a gem in his first start of the season. He really pitched well, but that was on the road against the Giants. San Francisco has arguably the worst lineup in Major League Baseball against left-handed pitching. It was a perfect spot for a lefty. Now, I'm not saying Washington's lineup is anything to be scared of. That being said, on the season, they're 10th in WOBA against left-handed pitching. If there's one thing the Nats can do, it's hit lefties. Washington's played the Mets tough in this series. I think the Mets blow them out here, so I would lean Mets, but I actually think my favorite bet's going to be the first 5 over 4.5. So give me that first 5 over next game. Tampa at Chicago to play the White Sox. Battle of the Aces here. We got McClanahan versus Cease. Again, it just happened like 5 days ago. Tampa opens up at -147 favorites. Total opens up at 7. So let's take a look at the spreadsheet and models all over Tampa here. After 5 innings, 4-0 Rays. Full game, 7-0 Rays. Like I said, ace versus ace. These games are always so tough to bet because you know the public's all running to bet the under here. And then add on the fact that we just saw this matchup 5-6 days ago. It makes it even more unpredictable. So I gotta pass on this one. Royals, Twins, Greinke versus Tyler Mahle. Minnesota opens up as -205 favorites. Total opens up at 8.5. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. According to the model, after 5 innings, we're looking at 3-1 Twins. Final score 6-1 Twins. I want to show you some splits in this one. Check this out. So this is Zach Greinke on the road last season. 0-7, 5.32 ERA. Ready for this? Tyler Mahle at home last season. 2-5, 4.71 ERA. Don't be fooled by the names here. You might look at this and be like, oh shit, Greinke versus Tyler Mahle, we got a nice pitching matchup here. No, they've been terrible in these spots. Obviously, I want to bet Minnesota. Not that I really trust the Twins lineup, but I certainly don't trust KC. The Royals bats have basically been non-existent. Not to mention you get the Twins coming off an ugly loss to the Yankees, and both Buxton and Polanco sat in that game. Both are expected to be back in the lineup tonight for the Twins. It pains me to back Mahle in a home start. It really does. But I think the best value here might be Minnesota first 5 on the run line, or maybe Minnesota first 5 team total over. That way Tyler Mahle can struggle and it doesn't affect our bet. I'm going to go with one of those. I'll let you know the final bet on the live show. Yanks on the road in Texas. We got Garrett Cole versus Andrew Heaney. Total opens up at 8. Yankees open up as heavy favorites here, -205. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet, and the models lean in Texas here after our first 5, 2-1 Rangers. 4-1 Rangers final score. So Garrett Cole's pitching, and he's been on an absolute warpath. I mean, right now he's probably the favorite to win the AL Cy Young. I know we're like 4 weeks in, but as of right now, he probably is. That being said, he's lost his last 5 trips to Texas, so this has not been a favorable venue for Garrett Cole. To me, the bigger question here is the Yankees bats. Have they snapped the slump? Because they just put up 12 yesterday afternoon against the Twins. If you think the Yankees bats are out of the slump, then you gotta play the Yanks here. I personally don't know if I could just jump back on the Yankees offense's bandwagon after 1 game, especially a day game, which is always a little weird. Keep in mind, they're on the road against Andrew Heaney, who's a pretty solid lefty. Yankees have struggled to hit lefties dating back to last season. And Heaney's pitching well. He's coming off 3 straight quality starts here. Texas bullpen is #1 in Major League Baseball in WOBA allowed over the last 2 weeks. Yankees bullpen's been pretty solid also, so I feel pretty safe on the under here. It's down at 7.5 for a reason. Give me the under at 7.5. Any big changes or updates, I'll let you know on Twitter, so give me a follow there if you're interested. Also, be sure to check out the live show, 11 a.m. We're going to go through the line movement, see if anything changes, and give our final picks. So I'll see you there.